Hello and welcome to another edition of the Talking City podcast from the Manchester Evening News. My name is Simon Bajkowski and it's a special edition today because we are joined not only by Joe Bray, but a man who needs no introduction, but I will allow him to introduce himself for the listeners.
Hello, I am Crunk Chocolate of Shades of Blue. I very much feel like I need the introduction, so thank you for allowing me to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Crunk, you are over from the US.
Correct.
And took in the Brighton game and are here just to get a flavour of Manchester and Manchester City up close and personal, right?
Correct. After so many years of watching them through the television and talking about them as often as we do now, definitely wanted to experience that other side, the match day going-ons, and it's been a wonderful experience so far, for sure, yeah.
And let's talk Shades of Blue. You started 3 years ago, you were just saying.
Yes.
Why did you start it? Who did you start it with? How's it going?
All right. Went to the Texas Man City U.S. tour event a few years ago. And from there, I met a lot of the other Man City content creators, podcasters, things like that. And I just had a great time. I had a nice chat with Natalie Pike too. Was like interviewed about my experience because that ended up on my birthday. So apparently I like seeing City on, flashbulb moments so I don't forget them. After that experience, it was amazing. And I wanted just feeling the closeness to the club with all these other people who love the club. Where I live, it's kind of small. Shout out to the Quad Cities. And the youth football is popular, but the moment you become an adult, it's just like, all right, bye, get out of here. And really wanted to be a part of that culture. I tried starting, getting bars to open up early to play games, and that would always last like a month or so and fizzle out. I just wanted to really put our perspective in about football, the way that I see the sport, culture, and everything. And so we are a Black podcast. I knew we also wanted to cover Man City women because not many podcasts were doing that as well. When I made the post, it was like, hey, I'd like to start a Man City podcast. That got a nice little bump, and I did about 10 to 12 interviews, and the best conversations were with the people that I have now, Tarek, Tom Baum, and Sharpie Charlie. We're all around the U.S. We have somehow become a little more centrally located, but we're all still like very much hours away from each other and complete strangers. I interviewed with them on a Thursday, and then that Sunday we were recording the first episode, and I basically call them brothers and have a nice, amazing community that, yes, we're City fans, but I take in a lot of pride that so many people are like, hey, I don't like Man City, but we love you. So, yeah, I think we're doing some cool things over here at Shades of Blue.
What first drew you to City in general?
I was playing, a friend of mine introduced me to FIFA back in 2002. He was like, have you ever played this game? And I was shocked by all of the whole world of football, like just leagues everywhere. And I was flipping through all the teams, and I got to Division I and was like flipping through the teams, and I saw this crest. And I was like, that's a cool crest. And I saw the name, and it said Manchester City. All I've ever known is Manchester United from all of the just media, movies, things that they're on. I tie them to the Yankees. I hate the Yankees. So I was like, okay, cool. I hate the Yankees. There's another team in Manchester that I don't know about. They're in a lower league. I look fantastic in sky blue. I know I'm not wearing it, but you should really see me sometime. And just being from the Midwest, we have like this chip on the shoulder, and where I live, there's not a professional team of any sorts. We just love our college team.
Yeah.
And every single year they're like, we're going to win the Big Ten. We're going to win the Big Ten. And they'll go 9-10 games unbeaten and just fall off of a cliff. And so seeing City, second tier, never heard of them. I was like, all right, cool. I'll start supporting them. Maybe one day they'll take over and be as great as Manchester United. And yeah, it's been an interesting experience since.
Just humor me because I was speaking to someone from Boston who started supporting City because she hates the Yankees and United are like the Yankees.
Yeah.
But why do you hate the Yankees coming from where you come from?
I am a St. Louis Cardinals fan. And just, actually, Yankees is just one of those teams that people just blindly just don't like. The success, the smugness of their supporting base, just kind of a lot, really. Yeah.
I find that interesting about the sort of the way US fans follow sports. And I was speaking to some fans before the tour this summer, and it is quite a similar story where it might be more to do with a player or it's not necessarily your area because there's not that many soccer teams, is there? So you're often drawn to maybe something specific, and you've chosen the crest, for example, and the type of team that City are. But I suppose nowadays a lot of fans are following City because they're big and they're the best team. So when you said 2002, I was like, they weren't a big team back in 2002.
No, they weren't. And really paying attention to them was very tough. And it wasn't until I was like 16, 17, that's when like Fox Sports Plus and Soccer Plus and all these other channels that would last maybe a year or so would pop up, and then it'd go away, and then a new version would pop up, and then it'd go away. But for the longest, like the 93-20 moment, I found that out the next day in the newspaper. And like that's how I honestly would take in a chunk of my information, was like, let me see how City are doing. And, I'd read all the teams and everything, and I'm just like, oh, fine. So, yeah, it's been wonderful. And now to be at a point where I'm here talking with you guys about this team that I love, it's beautiful.
So how many games have you seen before this trip? So you say you're in Texas, you were there in the summer was it North Carolina?
Yep, North Carolina, and I was also in New York as well. So went to those, and now the men's game and the women's. They were preseason, but it was still very cool being able to see them. What I really loved was being able to sit in the practices because, you can see the drills, like specifically in Texas, being able to see like Riyad Mahrez, like get to experience his first touch in person.
Yeah.
Like that was insane. Skinny legs, such skinny legs.
Was that Texas one where it could have been Haaland's debut?
Yeah.
And he just sat on the bench with his training top.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I remember that one. And we were more looking at the bench than what was happening on the pitch.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Well, and everything that happened, Haaland was like that's everybody what they were focused on. Yeah. So it was very nice to be able to kind of watch everything else. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of what's going on between the lines that could be missing. So being able to see the youth in the academy, that's what I really loved about doing North Carolina and New York, because I was able to kind of see hopefully the future of City quite often with my own eyes and get my own judgments, because watching from television, it's a completely different perspective. Yes, I see more of the pitch, but I really loved at the Brighton match kind of almost being forced to look what's in front of you. I'll see across the pitch and watch things like that, but all the things that are, I'm forced to watch. It was really cool. Yeah, so it's been wild. Like I was saying before we got on, it still hasn't hit me. Like I'm happy. My friend from Man City is recording me and taking all these photos and videos, because like I feel like some of it's gonna leak out of my brain. I'm gonna forget about it.
I think we find, because when we've been on the tours, those open training sessions are massive events.
Yeah.
But if that was here, no one would really show up. But because it's a City go into these places, I'm just seeing in the summer that it was like thousands of people there, the ones that you referred to. It was sort of alien to us. And you've seen that in sort of Asia as well, haven't you?
I feel like the US has more of a kind of, is more of a like event kind of entertainment sports, and you know they will make a big deal out of a training session, and you know it's a huge deal because you know follow City every game they play, but for them to actually come and be in the flesh, and that has to be part of the thrill, right? You know, like you say, it doesn't have to be in a game. You just have to see Riyad Mahrez sort of controlling one ball from the sky, and you're like, wow, that is that's you know paid for the ticket kind of thing.
There's so much we miss out, and a lot of City fans, when you meet other people and they find out you're a City fan, they're like, oh, okay. Let me guess when you became a fan and all that other stuff. So being able to experience the practices and the games, even though it's the US and it's a preseason tour, it felt like a notch down. It drew me closer to the club. That's half the reason why I created the podcast, because I was just so overwhelmed by the community and the closeness that I just wanted to be part of that more.
And they put on the events, don't they? So it's not just the game or the practice. It's the events. And I mean, walking around Chapel Hill and then New York, there's so many blue shirts.
Yes. It was, being able to SWP and FG hosting the events and being able to talk with like people on the production team and like people that because I've been on like Man City in America where they'll like put you on the fan wall, and I participated in a watch along forum. So there are all these people that I've chatted with via email or on social media that they were able to come up to me and be like, Crunk, it's nice to meet you in person. And it putting all these faces to names and sit next to you guys. Like I've read your guys' names, I've read your guys' articles, so it's wicked, like being between you guys right here.
Do you have a kind of local supporters club, or is it just not enough for the huge space?
I've tried hard. Like 4 different bars or breweries, I've gotten them to open up and bring they just don't really get it. They expect that the bar is going to be full of like 50 people every single time.
Yeah.
And I'd get like 10, 15 people in and I'd be like, this is great. And they'd be like, like you have no idea what to expect. And I would try to show them photos of other supporter group clubs that are in bigger cities where they would expect there to be 10 people. And they also would have like 10, 15. And big matches, sure. But to wake up at 6 a.m. to then travel somewhere just to watch football when we can watch it at home, they just really didn't understand how important and cool that was. It's really more so for, again, the community. It's something that I'm really big on. It was really nice being able to banter with people that aren't City fans. And so I missed that part.
We're always interested with fans who support the team from different countries. Like how close a part do you feel of like the City community?
Thankfully, because of social media, I have that helps. But I definitely feel like I'm far away. I mean, helping creating Shades of Blue and doing that, I feel like a closeness, especially because there are people that I can reach out to who cover City on a daily or are at the pre and post match pressers, and so I can pick their brains or have them on. And I know I'm in a privileged position, and I try to make sure everybody that I work with, they know how much I kind of appreciate them for their time and their perspective and stuff like that.
Because I think like English fans are quite protective over how to be a fan, aren't they? But it seems like everything you've said is just very authentic, as in how Americans follow sport, and it's not necessarily the same, but it sounds exactly how you would follow a sport. So that's how you sort of go with it.
I just try to. I'm very aware of how I want to protect the game, keep it how it was, and I try to do my best to be respectful and understand. And I mean, I love this culture. I grew up playing rugby as well, so I mean, that kind of has introduced me to, just different worlds and how they handle the culture. So it's a lot easier for me And there are parts of the game and how the culture is where I embrace, but there are also certain parts where I'm sure I'm like, not for me, but it's respectful. You leave it, but who doesn't love? Because like I'd watch a lot of the matches at bars, and it's 2, it's noon, it's 3, it's later here, but it's early morning where I am.
Yeah.
I have my eggs, breakfast, bacon, and everything, and a beer, and so it was nice. It was nice. That was like my way of trying to connect and participate from all the way over there, have it turned up as loud as I can, and whatever chants they're doing, I'm trying to like mimic it and things like that. Yeah, just embrace it while also trying to make what I can of it mine.
How did you find the Etihad on Saturday then?
It's large. There's like so much going on between the food trucks and all the people. I wasn't aware that you could only get in through like your lettering, and mine was way on the other end. So that was kind of like an experience, but it was great. The people that I was sitting next to, they've had tickets to the Etihad and Main Road for the last 30 years. Oh, being able to sit with them, it really just felt like I was just one of the people, because like they were all just with their kids, and it was just very much family. And I sat directly in front of a kid, and I sit down, and the mom is just like, sorry, like to the kid. And I like turn around, and he's just like, hi. It's like, I'll do my best, bud, but there's not really much I can do about it. So it was almost like the picture perfect experience, being able around other City fans who just like love the club, who gone through the Main Road to the Etihad and seen all the construction that's going to be built and added onto the stadium. Again, from hearing about the construction, now kind of seeing everything and dancing along to the DJ outside before the match begun. I know I looked a fool to many, but
you enjoyed it.
Hey, I don't call me Crunk Chocolate for nothing.
And I suppose you got a game that sort of reflected the last 20 years or so with Haaland scoring, all going well, and then a few mistakes, and not the 3-0, 4-0 win that you were hoping for, I imagine.
I was, I made 2 predictions. The first one was understandable. I was like, yeah, it could be like a 2-2 draw. And then I just started getting closer to the stadium, and I was like, I'm feeling it. I'm gonna ego-esque. I'm gonna I'm gonna center myself in this. Everybody is just so excited about me being there. It's gonna be a clean sheet, 3-0, and then it happened what it happened. And it was like, this is what I get. I should have just stayed humble, and just had the 2-2. And so it's I'm just happy to be there. And honestly, I missed the second goal because leaving the City Match Day area studio, which is all the way up on the 4th floor. By the time we got down to the bottom, a worker there, he was like, it's 2-2. And I was just like, no, it's not. And like argued him down a couple times, and he had to like show me the score on his Apple Watch. And I was like, fair. All right.
Yeah. It's been a strange old season, hasn't it?
Yes. This was kind of the season I was expecting a year or 2 ago.
Okay. And
everything just kept rolling, especially after the trouble. You're just like, you expect it, and kept things moving. And now we're here, but I really, especially talking about the team multiple times a week, you have to, I'm sure you guys know, you got to find fresh perspectives. Or one way you felt a month ago, it can immediately change, and you're just like, I was silly. And just trying to always find fresh perspectives of.
I feel like every week I'll say something about a player, and then that player will go and have a very good game at the weekend, or vice versa. And it's like a lot of backtracking on the following week's podcast.
Yeah. Or like, you're like, they've turned the corner, and then it's like, oh, no. And how difficult has it been for you when you've been podcasting? Because sort of, we're talking about like legends of the club who have really struggled and are struggling, and it's you don't want to criticize them because they've done so much, but at the same time, it's not been a good season for anyone, has it?
Not at all. It's funny because all these years we were legends were leaving early, and you're like, they still have a season or 2 left in them. And it's now just sitting there like, I get it now. I get it now.
Yeah.
I get it. It is very painful kind of getting at the players or being disappointed in them. And like the whole Kevin might resign, and I'm literally like, please don't. I want to have these positive memories of you. I don't want to be frustrated with you coming on 20 minutes and if you're not able to get something going. Like, let me have some new people that I can be upset with. Or honestly, new people that I can be like, it's their first year, give them some time.
Yeah. And are you fully on board the Kusanov train then?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I did what most people did when, Kusanov, Hayes, and even Jumaba were kind of announced is you watch as many compilation videos as possible and you look up all the stats and you try to get your own perspective on them. And I knew Kusanov was fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, seeing him run in person, that was like, what is happening? It's so crazy. And yeah, the way that he just feels like old school about him just because of his physicality, and he has no problem going shoulder to shoulder with somebody, throwing his head in with like a bunch of people trying to kick the ball. It's brings a lot of energy and intensity without like saying anything. He's a very quiet person, and I feel like I love that. Like he inspires through his actions instead of like yelling at people, things like that.
I don't think I've known a fan base rally around a player or gravitate towards a player so quickly and so intensely. As Kusanov, especially after his debut, which didn't go to plan. We were sat there thinking, this is...
Well, he was so slow against Chelsea, though, because we'd watched the same videos and we were like, this guy's quick. And then he started against Chelsea and it was like he was in slow motion, but he's really rapid since.
Yeah. And then there's these videos of him getting married or proposing this week, and it's just there's a hype and I don't know what I'm watching when I'm seeing all this social media thing about it, because I like the player. I think he's brilliant, and I think he's got a very good career ahead of him. But I just don't know how to react to all the sort of bubble around him.
I'm with you. That wedding video, it felt like it was like a movie. I had no idea what to think, and that's kind of the part of things I guess yet like the aggregation, sharing all the videos and things like that. I love it, but I guess that's where I'm the like old man yelling off of his porch type of thing, where it's just like, does everything need to be shared?
Yeah, I think with Kusanov, it's just kind of like it's the first player from Uzbekistan, and no one knows what an Uzbekistan is or anything like that. It's like, who, where? But also the buzz from there for him is crazy as well. So for this week when we've seen him going back and getting a car presented to him, and like the media scrum around him is insane. But that is what they hoped for when he signed for City. But also, what the reality of being a City player, I guess. And you see that, when the team do go to like the States or anywhere else, that there is such a huge reaction for them.
There's basically rock stars. There are people waiting outside for them to just walk. And I know they do that here too, but it's just the people watching the giant crowd of people just waiting outside for the bus in the summer tour, knowing that they're not coming out anytime soon. They're just, all right, I'm going to be sitting here for the next 2 hours waiting for my one chance to just scream at Holland and wave at KDB, which they may or may not acknowledge me. That's maybe a level of fandom I don't quite have. So respect there. I'm also just not really big on queuing. I'm not the most patient. If that's more of it. But even Marmoush, him and what he's gonna bring and represent. I love that we have almost like a mini UN of a football club now.
I think we saw that with Mahrez, didn't we? I think whenever we put a poll out and City found that it would just be flooded with everyone in Algeria voting. I think we might have a Uzbekistan equivalent of that with Kusanov and...
But also Middle East with Marmoush. Because he's got a lot of fans.
Obviously, the Club World Cup is in the States. Have you got tickets? Are you going to be going along to that?
I would like to. I'm looking at the game against Juventus, but It's kind of a lot.
It's not cheap.
No.
Looking at those tickets.
Yeah, and it's like, especially the first couple of matches, respect to those teams. And where I live, it's like a 10-hour drive, couple hour flight to Philadelphia. Like, I would definitely be flying to Florida if I was doing it. So it'd just be a lot of traveling for, I mean, obviously the raised purse for it. Like, the winner can now get tons of money, and with City out of the Champions League, that makes a big deal for them. So I think they'll care for it more. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see if the ticket prices get down a little bit lower, because I would like a decent seat. I don't want to just be there to be there type of vibes.
Yeah.
And
it's quite interesting though, because I think, you know, you would think, oh, well, fan in the US, best tournaments in the US, they can go. But it's like, the US is massive, guys. Like, yeah, you've got to get flights to every different game, and it's really not easy or cheap, even when it is in your country.
Yeah, and that's just because capitalism is running rampant in America. I guess it doesn't mean that we necessarily want it that way, and I understand that's why they're bringing all of these competitions to America, and because they are aware that they can charge a little bit more here in America than if they try to have a tour, an event held in England, or really most places in the world. But since we don't really bat an eye at $100+ ticket, and I don't want to say understand because that's the wrong word, but we have been trained to believe like it's an event. It's an event. So you get to go. That in itself is a flex. By hook or by crook, just get to these games. So I would love to go. I would love to be able to check out the situation. I have some friends who are going to be in Florida for there. That'd also be really nice to meet in person, but it's not on the top of my list. Yeah.
At least you can watch it at a normal time. It can be you don't have to have your breakfast and a beer. You can just have a beer on its own.
Yeah, I mean, that's been insane here. Like, the women's match it's not until 8. I was like, truly, like, what do I do? If this was America, the match would have been not over, but like time-wise, the match would have been over by now. And so it's been very interesting being able to, just go out, eat some food, shop around a little bit, and the match is like what I'm ending the day in. And so that's been nice, being able to go to pubs and talking with other people about what they saw at the match. Like, that has been what I've enjoyed the most, because, you know, that's in theory, that's what I'm believing all City fans are doing. They leave and then they're talking with their friends over beers or water or soda, whatever they're enjoying, and they're just talking about the match. So for me to be able to do that, it's like, I was legit like a bucket list thing. Yeah.
We were talking about the women's match later. I think this podcast is going out on Friday, so we'll know if City how they've done against Chelsea. It's going to be a difficult one, I think, with all the City and Chelsea head-to-heads and a few players out. Are you looking forward to your experience?
I'm very much looking forward to the experience. I'm always hopeful. But it's just, with Bunny and Fujino out on top of all the other players that are out, it's just really, it's like, who's going to be on that bench? It's going to feel like earlier this year when, like, I feel like we'll just have a bunch of like academy kids on there just to fill out the bench. And I was really hoping to see Bunny. Like, that was, my away shirt that I got this year is a Bunny Shaw shirt. So like, she's a big favorite of mine. And then Fujino, she's a baller. So that, like, I was really looking forward to seeing that. But it is what it is. I've befriended the Man City Women's supporter group. So very excited to meet them in person, get a couple of pins, because they always sell those at the... And just, again, checking off all of these lists that I really want to do and experience. And
have you followed kind of the women's team since they started? I mean, because women's football is a lot bigger in the US than it is over here. City kind of relaunched their team like 10 years ago. Is it something like that?
I'm relatively new. When we started the podcast, that's when I dove into women's football. Tom Baum on our podcast, Tom, he is he's grown up with women's football. He's from Kansas City, so there's a huge football culture there. When I did the interview with him, I asked everybody kind of what would be their focus when they came on the pod, and he was like, women's football. I was like, perfect. I knew that's what I wanted to cover.
Yeah.
And he actually covers Kansas City Current as a journalist. So like to be able to have someone who like eats, breathes, and sleeps the game and can go back to history, and then being able to befriend and connect with all the people that he knows that have been covering the game just as long, if not longer, it's helped me appreciate it. Like during the Women's World Cup, I completely changed my sleep schedule. So like I was up because most of the games were on and from like midnight to 6, 7 a.m. in the morning. So I would take like a morning nap, handle my life, take another nap before the games. And I did watch-alongs with these people, with the company Shea Butter FC. They cover women's football in America, and just was with them and all their other friends. And they welcomed me and let me just ask all the questions, sound stupid. And as long as you care and you mean well, like I'm a big fan of just letting people ask the questions. And I know where I fit. I can add in my flair of comedy, my style, and add some fun. And once I feel comfortable enough, or if there is something that I would know, because I was very aware of the City women. So when they would come on and I'd be able to like talk about them in detail, but everything else, I'm a big fan of just being quiet and listening and learning.
What have you made of their season? You surprised that Taylor got the boot, or surprised he lasted as long as he did? It kind of had so much promise, and then it all fell away very quickly, didn't it?
Yeah, Garrett Taylor was nothing split our podcast more than Garrett Taylor. And so like I'll just leave it at that.
Which side were you on?
So he's gone.
Yeah.
I am happy about that, but I guess the way and the fact that it's before this giant setup, that kind of stressed me out.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the season, all the players, like Lauren Hemp, Bunny Shaw, Keating, they were like, hey, trophies, that's the aim. And I don't really think that the players were talking about trophies much over the last couple of seasons.
Right.
So the fact that they were confident enough to talk about, hey, trophies is the ambition, I got really excited. And then they played very well. 2-0 win against Barca. Like, let's go. Everything is ours. And then especially after what happened last year, losing out to Chelsea on the last day.
Yeah.
Like I was basically already planning the same city, same passion parade trophy parade that they were going to be doing.
Yeah.
So just hopeful. And now the season is what it is. Let's get everybody back happy, healthy, give these young players and rotation players a chance to see what we really have with them and know exactly what needs to be built onto the squad in the summer.
I think it's a bit like the men's team, isn't it? Where you need to qualify for Europe, and if you can win a cup at the same time, that'll help move forward without being a disaster.
Yes.
But if you don't win those cups, and if you don't qualify for Europe, puts you in a bit more of a difficult situation.
That's a great way to put it. It is going to be a very difficult situation, and it will be because I feel like they already struggle with Chelsea into getting players. I don't know how Chelsea just keeps getting players after players, and in order to play European football or win trophies that will entice possible players. Oh, it's just like, will we be able to bring in huge names, or are we going to continue to bring in very good players that after a year or two will become the world-class players that we should have been, that we're like very happy about. But I want a name that I see and I can immediately just go on social media and just start just like yelling at everybody and having them upset.
It's also a real test for the people in charge at City, because the women's team have never sacked a manager. The whole club have not sacked a manager since Mancini. So, like, they've got to bring someone in summer who is really good, basically.
Yeah.
Like Chelsea have done it amazingly. But, as much as players coming in and players coming back, and it's going to be really interesting to see which way City go You know, do they go like a respected name? Do they bring in like, you know, Steph Horton was on the bench the other day, just sort of push her through? It's going to be quite interesting to see.
They've gone the CFG route in the past, haven't they? But
Yeah.
maybe is it time for someone who can take them over that line, because it feels like whatever they do, Chelsea are always there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is going to be a story that's going to sort of go in the background in the summer, I think, and be quite an important one.
Yeah.
Locked in about it.
Yeah. And how much have you enjoyed the match day experience then? Because I get the feeling that it's not necessarily, well, it can't be like central to your support of City because you live so far from the stadium, but is it something that has made you think, I want to come back regularly, or are you happy as you are?
Oh, I mean, I love Manchester so much. I mean, are you guys hired in here? Yeah, no, this was all been amazing. The match day experience has been great. Everybody that I've met, they've gone above and beyond to make sure that I have enjoyed the experience. I love it here. Food's great. Beers are great. Coffee's great. Yeah, it's plenty to check out. And yeah, I've truly have loved everything about Manchester. I was in London for a few days. I definitely prefer Manchester. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the next time I'm going to be back. I would love to do this at least once a year, you know, but this is technically home. I know it's not home. I'm not a Manchester, but this is a space that I've been watching and seeing and looking into, and some of the people that I very much care for, I love, are from this area, live in this area. Well, yeah, I've just been jokingly calling this week Crunk Chester, and I know that might anger a few people, but it's just like, hey, this is, again, making the most out of this experience.
Great. And this podcast will be back next week before the Bournemouth game, or if the 115 charges verdict drops, but I don't think, well, we don't know. We don't know when it's coming. We're all expecting it soon, but we will certainly be on top of it whenever it comes. But if it doesn't come, then we'll be back next week before the Bournemouth game. Very important trip in the FA Cup. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed listening to this special episode. Thanks to our special guest, Crunk, for coming along.
Thanks for having me.
And yeah, we will see you next time. Thanks very much.